finally back again. So today I'm going to be doing a video just on like the basic steps of how to put your makeup on, like what products you use, what order they go in, where to put certain things, just all of that in general, because I feel like that's something that a lot of people just kind of already assume that you know how to do in the beauty community because it's gotten so popular, but there are still a lot of people out there who really don't know what to do when it comes to that. So in terms of where to put things on your face, what order do they go in, you know, step-by-step kind of stuff like that. So it's just gonna be a quick video, how I do it myself for that kind of stuff. So we'll get started. So step one, an essential headband that you must have. Just kidding, you don't actually have to have it. I'm just gonna put this on so that I don't get makeup all over my hair. If you have a lot of piercings like me, be careful that you don't rip them out with a headband. I've done that before. I'm really struggling. Okay, so step one. Whenever you're about to put your makeup on, I always do this. I just put my primer on first because, again, I've talked about primer a ton in my videos so far, so you should know what it is if you watch them. But I'm going to put that on very first before I do anything else. Just rub that in. And then I like to put the primer on first, before, like way before I do my foundation, just so that it has time to kind of like sink into my skin. Rather than just putting it on very first and then throwing foundation right on top of it. I feel like when I do this first, it actually gives me time to get it sunk into my skin. Is this music too loud? I feel like it is. So then what I do very next after that is I actually put my eyebrow stuff on. So I do primer first, and then I go ahead and fill in my eyebrows, just to kind of get like the bare necessities, if you will, on first. I'm gonna do that. If you do your eyebrows, you always want to make sure that you have some type of spoolie to comb them out with, because whether you're using like a pencil or a crayon or the pomade, whatever it is, it can get really dark really quick and really bold really quick. So you want to make sure that you're combing it out with something so that you don't look like you just painted on your eyebrows and they're really like bold. If you like that look, that's fine too, but I don't. In today's video, I'm just going to do like the basic face products. I'm not really going to get into the eyes in this one too much. I might do that for another one, just like the basic steps of, you know, how to apply your eyeshadow, how to do depth, how to do this or that. I'll do that in another video, but today is just specifically going to be face makeup. This record player, so my music's playing from a record player right now, and I feel like it makes it sound like her voice sound very deep, as if it's almost not even her. It's very interesting. My eyebrows are incredibly dark. They look even darker now that I have very dark hair. Before, I feel like when I had blonde hair, was like a nice contrast, and now it's just like, you look like a gorilla. Okay, so step 1 was primer. Step 2 was put on your eyebrow stuff. Step 3 would be your eye makeup. I always put on eye makeup before I put on my face makeup. Again, I'm not gonna do my eye makeup today. I'm just doing the face makeup. So that's a whole other thing. My sister just walked in, but it's okay. I can edit it out. Probably won't. Anyways, so I would do the eye makeup next, and then I would go and put my face makeup on. The reason for that is because if you put on your eye makeup first and you get fallout underneath your eyes and stuff, you're not messing up all of your foundation. You can easily just wipe that away with a makeup wipe really quickly without taking off any makeup because you don't have it on yet. So I always do my eyes first before I put on foundation. But we'll pretend like we did that. We'll skip forward. The next step would be either your foundation or your skin tint. This is skin tint, tinted moisturizer, whatever it is that you use. And I would put that on next. I always put a little bit on the back of my hand so that you don't use too much. And then I always kind of dab it all over my face. There's that, and then where's my brushes? Use a brush, use a beauty blender, whatever you like to do, and blend that in. So there's a big question that people always have, and that question is, do you put on foundation / skin tint on first, or do you put on concealer first? Again, it's makeup, so it's personal preference. Do whatever you like to do. But myself, along with most people I know that are well-versed in their makeup products, always put on the foundation first and then the concealer, because the concealer is made to kind of give you a little bit of that extra coverage and like cover up kind of thing. So if you put it on first, it's almost just going to defeat its purpose, in my opinion, because you're going to smear it around and you're going to just put foundation on over top of it. So it's not actually giving you as good of coverage as it would if you just put it on after the foundation. So I always do foundation first and then concealer on top. And that's a really good rule of thumb, because it is a big question that people ask all the time. They don't know which order to put that in. So that's what I would say. Because again, with your foundation, you kind of rub it in, whereas concealer, you more like pat it in. You'll see when I do that. So if you patted that in first and then put your foundation on top and rubbed it all around, you're just smearing the concealer everywhere. So there's really no point, and you're defeating it. So anyways, this is concealer. This is the Tarte Shape Tape Concealer. It's good. Everybody knows about it. There's no specific way you need to put on concealer either. You just kind of I put it under my eyes, any areas that I feel like I want to lighten up or cover up a little bit more. It really doesn't matter how you apply it. And then I'm gonna use the beauty blender, and I am gonna dab it in. So I always put it underneath my eyes, and then I always put it on top of my eye too, just to make sure everything's the same color. And like I said before, whenever I said I always do my eyes before I do my face makeup, you don't have to do that. Again, like, it's not like this is the only way to do it kind of thing. That's just my personal preference and what I found usually works best for me, because like I said, if you get the fallout, you can easily clean it up without messing up your face makeup. But it doesn't have to be that way. Sometimes I will do it the opposite. It depends on how heavy I want to do my eye makeup, you know, how much fallout the product has, whatever. That's just, like I said, what I found works best for me. It doesn't have to be like that. And I forgot some things in my bathroom, so I'll be right back. I gotta go get it. Okay. So my setting spray, this is the next step. So I always set down whatever liquid stuff that I have on my face before I go in with the powders, just to make sure that it's locked in and it doesn't move throughout the day. That's the best way that you get the wear out of your makeup. So I'm done with all my liquid stuff so far. So I did primer, my eyebrows, and then I did my skin tint and concealer. So that's all the base stuff, and it's all on, it's all done. So then I take the Urban Decay All Nighter Setting Spray, and I spray down my face to make sure that that liquid stuff is locked in before I do the powder. And then I fan that in to make sure it's all dry. You can go, I usually like walk away and do something and be time efficient while this is drying so that I don't smear it around and it's fully dry. So that's good. And then next step, so face steps on. The next thing is bronzer that I would put on. So I take a brush like this. You can use an angled brush or you can use like a big fluffy brush. I do both. If I want it to be more of a contoured kind of look, I'll use a more angled brush. I'm gonna take this off now. I'll use a more angled brush, but if I want it to be more of just like the bronzy kind of look, I will just use a big fluffy brush. So I'm gonna use the Cheek Parade by Benefit. I love this little guy. It's actually big. Ooh, forgot that was in there. But anyways, so it has two different bronzers in here. There's the Hoola and there's the Hoola Light. I use both very frequently. And then there's 3 blushes. I don't know if they still make this palette or not. I know they have some form of it, but I don't know that it's exactly the same. They might. It's very good. So I just put that on my big fluffy brush, and then okay. So the way that you want to put bronzer on is it's actually very simple. If you want it all over your, the whole area, that's a little different, but the rule of thumb for when you're putting bronzer on is just, first of all, make the fishy face. That is actually 100% accurate. It is the way that you want to do it because you want to carve out your cheekbones and you want to apply the bronzer just below where your cheekbones are. So another really easy way to do it is line up like your brush from your ear to your mouth. And whatever that line is probably where your cheekbone's gonna fall, and that's where you want to apply it. So if I do this and then make the fishy face, that's exactly where it falls. So that's a way to do it, or like I said, just suck your cheeks in, either way. So you always want to start with it here, or yeah, just start with it there. Build it up as little or as much as you would like. Clearly, I usually like a lot of bronzer because I'm pale. Okay, so then the other parts that you're going to want to hit with the bronzer is going to be anywhere that the sun would like naturally kind of hit your face. That's the rule of thumb whenever you're thinking about it. So on your cheekbones and then like the outer parts of your face, because those are the parts that you're trying to contour in. So you're not trying to brighten them up, you're trying to make them look darker to make your features look more slim. That's the goal of bronzer. So anyways, so the next parts would be like the outside of your forehead. And then underneath your jawline. And I'm mostly just kind of mixing back and forth between the two colors of bronzer, the Hoola and the Hoola Light when I do it. And then I always, if you're hearing like a noise, I always tap off my brush before I apply it, because you want to get rid of the excess product or else it's going to be way too much on your face. Just like you would when you're doing your eyeshadow, you always want to tap off the excess product. And then I always put a little bit on the sides of my nose. I'm not going to contour it heavily, but I do put a little bit on the sides to kind of tie everything together. And then, so that's the bronzer. So you put that on first. You do your primer, your eyebrows, your skin tint, your concealer, setting spray, bronzer, and then the next one would be blush. So I'm just going to use one of these blushes from this palette because that's what I have in front of me. So I'm going to use, I'll use the Dandelion one, the lighter pink one. So I'm going to do that, dip my brush in there. Again, tap off any excess that you have. And then when you do this, you want to smile. So you find the apples of your cheeks. Mine are pretty easy to find. And just kind of swirl your brush in a backward motion to apply that. And then I always do this, not everybody does, you definitely don't have to, most people probably don't, but I always dab like a little bit on my nose because I think, again, it ties everything together. You don't look so contrasted, and that is that. And then the last one that you would do for your face as far as powders go is going to be highlighter. So what did I do with highlighters I have? I'm a hot mess. This one's good. We'll use this one. So this is, I'm going to use the Kylie Cosmetics palette, which I've used before. And I'm going to mix both of them together. So Ice Me Out and Cheers Darling. So between the more goldish white and then the rose gold I'm going to use. And I always like to do this when I'm applying highlighter. I put it on my brush and then I spray it a little bit with setting spray. It makes it just a little bit more. And then when you're doing highlighter, you want to put it on the high points of your cheekbones. So not down here, not up there. You want it on the highest point. So like here for me would be where it is. So kind of where your eyebrow ends there. And then down a little bit from there is where I always start it. And then you can do it on the bridge of your nose, on your Cupid's bow. I don't usually do all that, but those are the points that you would, just any like high points of your face that you want to make pop a little bit more is usually the point of where you would put highlighter. So you can do that if you want. So yeah, that's basically the most basic steps that you can do whenever you're applying your makeup, and that's how you do it. So it's really quick and it's really easy. It doesn't have to be a whole thing. It's you know, just as hard as you make it, really. So then one last thing that I am gonna do before I do my final setting spray is I'm gonna take like a lighter powder just to kind of put it on the points of my face that doesn't have bronzer on it, and to kind of clean up the bronzer so that if there's any like extra down here that I didn't want to get there, anything like that, I can apply the powder to do that. So I'm gonna use the Anastasia contour kit in light to medium. There's like a light powder in there, and then a banana powder, which is yellow, to make it look brighter under your eyes. So I am going to put that underneath here. And I get a little crazy when it comes to this stuff because I just kind of put it wherever I want, and I'll usually put it like on my eyes too to set down that concealer that I put up there. So I put it on my eyes, under my eyes. I put it on my nose usually, and then like up on my forehead to set everything down, and then always down here to clean up the bronzer. So again, this is an optional step. You definitely don't have to put it on. You could have just, you know, finished with your highlighter, did your setting spray, and called it a day. I just do this to kind of give it a little bit extra security in all my makeup, because I hate whenever it rubs off halfway through the day. I'm not a fan of that whatsoever. So I always like not pack it on, but I pack on like the security of it, and I make sure that it stays very well. So that is the final steps of what I would do for my regular everyday face makeup. So then I would take my all-nighter setting spray one last time, spray it all over. Make sure that you wait until this dries, because the last step is going to be your mascara. I always put on setting spray before the mascara, because heaven forbid you would blink and it would get under your eyes, and then you would be a very unhappy camper, and you'd probably blame me for it because I told you how to put it on. Okay, so that's all dried down, and then last step, I'm going to put on my mascara. Aren't you all happy you can be this close up and personal with my mascara face? I'm actually pretty weird. I'm not one of those people that, like, they always say when you're putting mascara on, you always, like, have your mouth open. I'm really not that person. I don't always do that. Sometimes I do, but not always. Okay, and then one more thing, if you are somebody who always wears eyeliner, which I'm not, I would do the same kind of thing. I would put on the setting spray, and then I'd do my eyeliner first, and then I would put on my mascara, because again, if you put on your mascara first and then try to do your eyeliner, it's gonna get smudgy and it's gonna get in the way of things, all of that. So if you are somebody who likes to put on or eyeliner all the time, I would do that before your mascara. And then one last thing, I'll put on my lip stuff. This is just a Buxom lip pencil. I use this literally all the time. Just for the final touch. And then a little bit of balm, go on top, because I hate whenever I have super matte lips. And that's it. So yeah, I think that was all the basic steps. I hope that it was informative enough. If you have any questions about where things go or how to apply them, if I went too quickly, don't hesitate to ask me or reach out, leave a comment. If you know me personally, just ask. But yeah, that's all I have for today. So I hope you have a great rest of your March 23rd. And so yeah, I'll see you next time. Thanks, guys.